Hi, I'm Bobby Brown, owner and CEO of Brown's Donuts. 20 years ago, my daddy, Robert Brown, started this business in a sewer tunnel. But then, he started inviting children to eat his donuts, and they did all like it. But then he went to jail for reasons I still don't know. I was forced to inherit the restaurant business whether I wanted to or not. No, Dad! I don't want to make your stupid donuts! You hear me from jail? I don't want to make your stupid donuts. I just want to play baseball like the other kids. 19 years later, and 2 restaurant chains, one of which in this city dump that we got right here, we're healthy, we're solid, but most importantly, we don't stink as much as we used to. And I just want to give my warm thanks to Spider-Man for helping us out in this endeavor of ours. If it wasn't for Spider-Man, I would have never gotten down from that light post that the bullies put me on. With that extreme wedgie they gave me. Oh boy, I'm still feeling it. Seeing as we would get robbed every other day, Daddy had to fend them off with brown donuts. And the robbers would hate it. But thanks to Spider-Man, we only get 1 robbery a week. Spider-Man, thank you for making brown in this town possible. So come on down to Brown's Donuts. I don't want to stir the doo-doo. Proud of me, Dad. I did it. I made a commercial for your stupid donuts. I just wanted to play baseball with the other kids and you wouldn't let me do it. I fucking hate you, Dad. You're
Brown's Donuts, New York's Donuts. Call us now at 212-317-2359. That's 212-317-2359.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're going to talk about Spider-Man now. So there are a few shows I watch, mainly because I spend all my time working and making YouTube videos. Instead of partying and having fun like most young adults, my typical Friday night is summarized in this one clip.
Alright, let's see right here. Get off my blanket. Oh, this damn sunlight's killing me.
Even at my fattest, I still wouldn't be able to get through a whole series of anything until now. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't watch much of it because when it finally came on for me to see it, it was on WB Kids and it was way past its time. I was watching it in the 2000s and this show came out in 1994. But let's take a step back and see how this all started.
This part of New York and its sister state, New Jersey, comprise one of the greatest metropolitan areas in the world.
The year was 1962, New York. The economy is booming, the Beatles were fucking all the bitches, Vietnamese folks were really mad at us for some reason, but hey, JFK still hasn't died, so what a good time to be alive, huh? So good, you can start a business, maybe a printing paper business, maybe printing books with drawings on them, maybe comic books. Fuck it, let's start a comic book business. One fine morning in the Marvel offices, a man by the name of Stan Lee, and no, not Stan Lee, more like Stan Lee, woke up and busted Steve Ditko's door. Stan said, "You know what we need? A superhero team kick-ass with a groovy name. Teens are rebels. What's the most rebellious creature out there? I know, a spider. That's it, Ditko. We'll name him Spider-Man." And Ditko was like, "Get the hell out of here." Soon after, Stan started working on the Arachnid Kid in spandex. Ditko came back with a Spider-Man design only to be fired immediately by Stan. Stan then hired expert fat man Jack Kirby, R.I.P. Rest in peace, the fine man Jack Kirby, who actually brought us the original Spider-Man design that we know and love today. Stan was a head writer for a little anthology series called Amazing Fantasy. The comic was struggling to be anything more than just a coffee table book and was going to be cancelled soon. Lee found himself in a tight spot. Either he can make Spider-Man a reality and lose his job, or not write anything at all and still lose his job. Finally, Stan reluctantly got the green light to create the series, writing Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy number 15, and that would be the last Amazing Fantasy in the series. Looks like they went out with a boom because 7 months later, Spider-Man was a household name among young geeks and nerds. After they got vicious beatings by their fathers, they would carefully crawl under their bed and read Amazing Fantasy books. Spider-Man was so popular, he later went on to debut in his own comic book, The Amazing Spider-Man. And yes, amazing coming from The Amazing Fantasy. 60 years later, 6 movies, $1 billion merch line, 101 incarnations, 20 girlfriends, 2 of which dying as a result of Spider-Man, 3 deaths, 2 live action shows, 1 play, 8 animated series, and 1 horrible Clone Saga later, and this character by far and away is my favorite comic book superhero. Since this is Comic Explosion, we're only going to be taking a look at the animated series. Thank God no one wants to watch that 70 live action trash. Get it out of here! What the fuck, was that a horse kick? It's Spider-Man, not Spider-Horse. I'll be honest, I'm a 90s kid that looks like he's 40 with a rockin' dad bod. That Spider-Man animated series totally flew past me. Most of my exposure to the show was on Disney, get it, XD, but I'll break it down for you in these few episodes that I did see.
Coming later today to Fox, the television event you've been waiting for, with the amazing superhero who's worth waiting for, Spider-Man. It's the special sneak preview you can't miss. Watch the all-new Spider-Man, coming later today to Fox Kids.
It'll transform you.
Oh, Spider-Man's in deep shit right now.
This man has perpetrated the most heinous crime a citizen can commit. He is a danger to the very well-being of our society.
Oh, jeez.
Therefore, I urge that there be no bail for the defendant, Peter Parker.
The hell, did he have child pornography or something?
So first thing I want to break down is Spider-Man the animated series was a Fox network series followed by the X-Men the animated series. Spider-Man was voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes, providing the web slinger's voice. Spider-Man the animated series from 1994 was a weird show for sure, but it was pretty kick-ass as well. Watching it wasn't really a struggle, but it absolutely had its quirks, with censorship, minimal adult themes, and motherfucking gun lasers. This show is definitely a product of its time. I watched 3 iconic episodes, Man Without Fear, The Secret Wars Saga, and The Web of Shadows Saga, all of them multi-parts. I guess we should just jump straight into it. I'll start with the good stuff. The voice acting in this show is top notch, except for Daredevil. They made him sound like a Captain America ripoff for some reason.
Right here, Kingpin, and the name's Daredevil.
You would have to be a daredevil to dare to challenge me.
I'm taking your family. The police have your son, and I have you.
My son?
Peter Parker Spider-Man was voiced by Chris Barnes, a man who has not had a lucky career, to put it mildly. The dude's only main role was for the animated series, and every other iteration that he was a part of, he was casted as a side Spider-Man, for example, like Spider-Man Noir or Spider-Man 2099. Poor guy, he seems like a really nice person, and he really loves the character. Now for the villains. The villains in this show are pretty run-of-the-mill. While I was watching this show, none of the voices really threw me off except for Fisk. He sounded like a British pompous king.
Silvermane and Spider-Man? Allies?
Also, I would like to point out the Cheeto flat iron haircut Norman and Harry Osborn. Like, what is up with their hair? Like, they got literally squiggly lines on their head. What is up with that? I totally do not get why they did that. I mean, I know in the comics they have that same type of haircut, but why? Who has that haircut? Who has like multiple highlights in their head like that? Nobody. That's an unrealistic haircut. But that's besides the point. That being said, this is a really good portrayal of Spider-Man's rogues gallery. The show had all the Marvel villains and heroes. And the show was also a stepping stone for shows like Iron Man and the Fantastic Four back in the day. They also had very obscure villains like Silvermane. Like Silvermane? What, an old man in a robot suit? What is he gonna do? Like, why did they even put him in this show? Whatever. This cartoon was one of the first ongoing sagas, multi-part stories, and overarching plots that I've seen in a cartoon. I don't think I've ever seen a show like this before Spider-Man. I mean, I know X-Men also had an overarching plot, but it seems to me like Marvel shows were the first cartoons to actually do that. I could be wrong, you can look it up. All in all, the Spider-Man animated series was a pretty awesome show, except for the fact that the action was pretty cheesy, the motherfucking gun lasers that I still can't get over. Why don't they just have real guns? Well, that's a simple, fair, and balanced answer. The reason why they didn't have real guns is because it was supposed to be a kids show, and you know, people aren't really endangered in kids shows, so what better way to kill someone than to burn their eyeball off with a fucking laser? Lasers are more deadly than bullets. Why doesn't anyone understand this? Lasers will burn right through you. That's a horrible decision that they made. Oh, let's put a gun with lasers on it, and that way kids will know that real guns are more dangerous than laser guns. No, in the future we're gonna have laser guns and they're gonna bust people's heads open. Like, have you ever seen Star Wars? Those lightsabers can do some serious damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
But that's besides the point. From the 3 episodes I watched, they were all really, really good. I actually wanted to watch more of the series. Even though it was pretty campy and cheesy, I would watch this series over and over again. And I do recommend it for anybody who's curious about watching this series. It's a good time. If you're a Spider-Man fan, I definitely advise you to check it out. If you like the lore of the Marvel Universe, there's going to be a lot there for you, a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of characters that you know and love. The villains are also really good, except for Kingpin. And all in all, this show is really fucking phenomenal.
I give this show 15 wet swips out of 5.